Hey guys, welcome back to my podcast. So today I want to talk about a topic that's been on my mind for many years. It is somewhat embarrassing to discuss, but I am certain that many of us have faced similar challenges, whether in the past or present. It concerns my struggle with pornography addiction, which has been proven to be more difficult to overcome than addiction to alcohol or cigarettes, particularly when one is exposed to it at a young age. It all began during my childhood. I vividly recall the year 2000, when I was 10 years old and in the 5th grade. At that time, cell phones were not common. School was an enjoyable experience for me. I had the opportunity to play with my classmate, run around, and embrace a carefree spirit. Although I was not the smartest person in my class, I often questioned whether I had lead poisoning, as I did not learn to read until adulthood. One day in class, we would gather in circle while the teacher read us books. During this time, I noticed a boy next to me, a classmate, behaving inappropriately by placing his hand under a girl's skirt. This incident occurred multiple times over the weeks, and as a young child, I did not fully comprehend what was happening. The same boy had a significant impact on my childhood, and I would like to explain how. We had the old C monitor in our classroom, which we used to play educational games on PBS. By the way, a C monitor was a computer that was shaped like a C. One day, while I was engaged in a game, I noticed this boy browsing the internet. Suddenly, I saw him on a pornography website. I had never encountered anything like that before, and my heart raced as I was drawn into the screen. In the moment, my life changed forever. In the week following the intentional encounter, I attempted to brush it off and continue my childhood. However, the image lingered in my mind. Then one day, still at a young age, I went to my brother's room where he had a computer. Out of curiosity about what I have seen a few months prior, I started typing keywords on Yahoo. Google back then didn't exist. Keep in mind that I had no understanding of what pornography was or how to search for it. I entered phrases like women doing things, woman with man, and woman naked, but nothing substantial appeared in the result. I logged off and tried to move on with my life. A couple of months later, while on the school bus, a boy was talking about how he was dating a girl. He mentioned if her mother wasn't around, I would F her. As a young child, I asked him, "What do you mean, F her?" He explained the term to me. At that moment, the image of pornography resurfaced in my mind and started to wonder if that was what I witnessed back in school. Curiously, I remembered the word he used. When I got home, I went on the computer and typed in effing along with a woman. To my surprise, I found porn site once again. As a child, I became hooked on it, almost like an addiction to drugs. It fundamentally changed how I viewed females. At that time, I was so innocent that I thought women only had one hole. Every time I looked at a female, all I could think of were the porn videos I had watched and how she would appear in them. Over the years, my consumption of pornography significantly lowered my self-confidence. I found myself unable to go a day without watching it. Even when I had a girlfriend, I would sneak behind her back to view porn. This behavior made me unfaithful. As I developed fantasies that my girlfriend couldn't fulfill, I became selfish and consumed by my addiction. I felt trapped in a cycle of shame, fighting this addiction alone without being able to talk to anyone about it. It felt like an uphill battle that I was losing. The situation became so overwhelming that I started to hate crowded areas. Every time I saw women, all I could think about were those images, which caused me anxiety. I even struggled to eat in public, feeling like I was going to choke. Now, 18 years after the initial experience that changed my life, I am still battling this issue, feeling as though I am losing the fight. The worst place for me was the beach. While everyone around me was having fun, all I could think about were the women I saw and the way they reminded me of what I have seen in porn. My self-confidence has plummeted drastically that even when a pretty female would talk to me, I would respond as if I had no interest at all. I wasn't being myself anymore. I felt disconnected, like a ghost outside my body, observing my life from a third-person perspective. It was as if I had lost the ability to connect with others genuinely, trapped in my own feelings of inadequacy. One day, I sat in my room and reflected on my life. I used to be an athletic person. In fact, I was the fastest student in high school and could push over 400 pounds with my legs while weighing only 135 pounds. However, once I developed a porn addiction, everything changed for the worse. My consumption escalated to watching it over 2 to 3 times a day and began to drain my soul. I let myself go physically, neglecting my health and well-being. As a result, I got sick, slowed down, and gained significant amount of weight, nearly doubling from 135 to 210 pounds. Being trapped in this cycle of addiction was incredibly depleting. It was easily accessible, just like cigarettes, where you can just walk to the store and buy them. Porn was right on my fingertip, on my phone, making it all too simple to fall deeper into that habit. I couldn't stop. I had to do something about it. I couldn't live my life like this anymore. I didn't want to die being addicted to something I was exposed to at such an early age. It felt unfair. I hadn't asked for this struggle. One day while I was sleeping, I experienced something profound. I wasn't sure if I was dreaming or if it was a real voice spoken to me. One day it sounded like my grandma, who passed away when I was 13 years old. I had been very close to her, and her voice said something along the line of, "Son, just feel around. There's a door outside of that box. Just find it." When I woke up, I looked around cautiously, questioning whether it was truly her voice or just a dream. I couldn't go back to sleep because I realized this was the answer I had been searching for. I felt like I was trapped in a box and needed to find an exit. Having been addicted to porn from the age of 10 until I turned 28, 6 years ago, this felt like my wake-up call. I believe my grandma knew I was struggling and sent me a final message. I had to change it. It was now or never. What ultimately helped me battle my addiction was the resonance of her message in my mind. I had to stop, and that realizing marked the beginning of my journey to reclaim my life. In my journey to overcome addiction, I began to consistently reduce my phone usage. Whenever I felt the urge to watch pornography, I would turn on my Xbox and immerse myself in online gaming. However, when I paused my gaming session, the urge would resurface, presenting a significant challenge. To address this, I took a protective measure by going for walks or taking cold showers, and I would sometimes spend the entire day outdoors knowing that I couldn't access pornography there. I also discovered that fishing was a helpful outlet, as it allowed me to spend time alone and engage with nature. To minimize triggers, I avoided environmental where I may encounter women, recognized that this could lead to a temptation. I started waking up early to run errands, which helped me steer clear of crowded places. To further support my recovery, I implemented practice measures such as blocking all pornography websites on my phone, which effectively prevented accidental access. I developed a habit of reading extensively and watching documentaries about life, space, and nature, which further enriched my knowledge and distracted me from the urges. I focused on cultivating a positive mindset, increasing my physical activities, and began hitting the gym on unconventional hours, such as 1 a.m. in the morning, to avoid any potential distraction. After 5 months of absence from pornography, I experienced a significant positive changes in my life. I became happier, I had more energy, and I regained my confidence, which allowed me to engage in more comfortable with others and even eat in crowded spaces. Now, 6 years later, I remain free of my past addiction. I am happily married and I have been with my wife for 5 years, with a son on the way. Life is profoundly better now and I finally feel at peace. I recognize that addiction can be incredibly challenging, especially when the triggers are readily accessible 24/7. While I continue to be vigilant, now I avoid certain apps such as TikTok due to their tendency to display sexual contact, which can trigger unwanted urges. Instead, I prefer to use platforms like YouTube, where exploit material is less prevalent unless you're specifically searching for it. There are many individuals who struggle with addiction but may feel embarrassed to discuss it. I hope that my story has resonated with you and provided support to those who can relate. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll look forward to connect with you in my next episode. See ya.